If you want to extract more, win more fights, and get better loot in Arc Raiders, you need to be running custom loadouts consistently. The problem is that custom loadouts require a lot of resources. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my eco raiding strategy so that you never have to worry about running out of crafting materials or be stuck using free loadouts again. Raiding with custom loadouts isn't cheap. You need to craft augments, shields, weapons, ammo, meds, utilities, and grenades, just to be prepared. If you're stuck with a free loadout, you're often left with a weak and unleveled weapon, barely any ammo, and next to no heals. That not only makes you vulnerable to other players, but also puts you at the mercy of even the smallest arc. On top of that, your inventory is tiny, and there's no included safe pocket. That means even if you do stumble upon an item you really need, there's no guarantee it'll ever see the inside of your stash. This inspired me to come up with a simple strategy to make sure you and I never have to raid with free loadouts again. Hello, I am White Boy Ramen, and I am shamelessly addicted to Arc Raiders. I've logged nearly 100 hours since this game launched just about 2 weeks ago, and spending all that time topside, I've realized something that has actually changed the way that I play this game. Basic crafting materials are just as, if not more crucial than rare blueprints and epic loot. However, if you try to focus on collecting both of those in the same raid, you're not going to gather either of them very well. This is where my eco raiding strategy comes in. An eco raid is a low-risk, resource-focused raid where eco stands for economy, and more specifically, saving economy. This means you're not hunting legendaries or engaging in unnecessary PvP. The goal is simple: load in, gather core materials fast, and extract. Do this at the start of each session so that the rest of your raids can be done with full custom loadouts that have more carry weight, more utility, and a much higher chance of extracting. Running 1 or 2 eco raids at the start of your session ensures you never run out of the core materials needed for custom loadouts. Most raiders will burn through their resources every couple of raids and get forced back into free loadouts, which means less ammo, fewer heals, weak weapons, and tiny inventory space. When you stay stocked through eco raids, you can use custom loadouts consistently. That alone massively increases your odds for survival, because custom augments give you more inventory slots, higher carry weight, and better tools for every fight. With proper weapons, ammo, meds, and utilities, you're better equipped for both ARC and PvP encounters, so you'll die less and your raids will become more profitable overall. You should start using this strategy the moment you begin playing Arc Raiders. 1 or 2 of these raids, about 20 or 30 minutes total, set you up with enough materials to run proper custom loadouts for the rest of the day. The goal isn't to spam this sort of raid. It's not a high-tier looting method, and won't get you to the endgame alone. Think of it as your foundation. By securing your basic resources early, you make every real raid afterward easier, safer, and more profitable, especially the high-risk, high-reward ones where custom gear makes all the difference. Your eco raid loadout should be cheap and low risk. The entire point is to minimize potential loss while still having enough power to deal with arc and defend yourself if you run into another player. Keep the cost down, keep the build simple, and stick to weapons that are reliable without being expensive. Here's what I usually take, though you can swap items based on your playstyle as long as you stay in the budget but balanced category. Think Pharaoh, Anvil, Rattler, or anything that can handle both arc and players without draining your resources. My typical eco raid loadout is a Pharaoh, 1 stack of heavy ammo, a looting 1 or 2 augment depending on what I can afford to lose, a light shield, 3 adrenaline shots, 5 bandages, 2 shield rechargers. I don't normally take any utilities, but if I do have a raider hatch key, I'll take one of those in my safe pocket. They're pretty cheap to craft if you have the recipe. This setup keeps my total loadout cost at under 15,000 and only requires these materials to craft. Normally, I like to do these routes solo, but they can be done with a duo or trio. Take notice that your results may vary. People look for PvP more often in these modes. I mainly stick to the Dam Battlegrounds and Blue Gate maps for these, as the outskirts of these maps aren't too populated and provide great opportunities for everything we intend to gather. It also works really well on the spaceport map when the tower event is active, as most of the lobby makes their way to the towers, leaving loads of loot behind on the outskirts and the less hot areas of the map. Make sure you listen up, because this is the most important part of the whole strategy. You need to pick up everything. About 99% of items can be salvaged into base materials, and that's the core of this strategy. If you hold on to random junk, arc coolant, torn blankets, scrap electronics, your inventory fills fast. But once you salvage them, they convert into chemicals, fabric, metal, and other stackable resources that allow you to stack up to 50 units per slot, which is exactly what you want. There are a few things you should hold on to instead of salvaging, like epic or legendary items, quest or upgrade items, blueprints, and arc power cells for crafting shield rechargers. To make the most of this raid, wait until your inventory is about 75% full before salvaging. If you're forced to extract early, most items recycle for 50 to 100% more back in Speranza. Just remember, if you skip salvaging entirely while topside, you'll end up with far fewer total stacks of core materials. Now, if you've brought a raider hatch key, extracting is actually fairly easy. Once you're done looting, you can just head to the nearest hatch, or if the nearest hatch is in a hotspot, you can head to one that's out of the way enough that you're not likely to encounter any other players on your way there. However, if you're attempting this without a raider hatch key, you'll have to be a little bit more careful. You might want to head for an extraction point that's further away from a PvP hotspot, and you need to plan ahead to make sure you'll have enough time to get there. A good rule of thumb is that you need 1 minute for every 100 meters away the extraction point is. The adrenaline shots really help with this. If you're worried there's someone camping the extract, I've never run into this in solos, but I know it definitely does happen. You can try to stay hidden and crouched while you check the whole perimeter of the extraction point. After that, run and hit the button to call the elevator, and then find a hidden spot to wait for it to arrive. At the end of the day, eco raiding isn't about playing scared or playing cheap. It's about building a foundation that lets you enjoy this game and play with confidence, because you're more prepared and more in control of what you bring into your raids. When you start your session with a few eco raids and a strong base of materials, you'll be more profitable overall and you'll have more fun, because you have the freedom to push into higher tier loot zones, take risks, experiment with different loadouts, and not worry about losing a single weapon. This strategy won't make you rich, and it certainly doesn't guarantee legendary drops, but it will make your raids safer, it'll make them run smoother, and it'll make them more profitable. It's one of those small habits that quietly compounds until you realize you haven't had to touch a free loadout in days. That's the goal. Consistency, not luck. If this video helped you at all, please let me know down in the comments. I had a blast making this video, and I hope that it can make the game a little bit less daunting if you're someone who's new to the genre. I want you newbies to be able to hop in and have fun with the rest of us. And the more players the game has, the better it is for all of us. I'm also curious to see what kind of tips you guys have, so leave that in the comments too. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out the rest of my channel and consider subscribing. It is free, after all. Thank you for your time and your attention. Stay safe, and I'll see you topside.